Welcome, I'm Julie Haymaker, and welcome to Fan Faire. The first thing I'm going to do is go through the supplies you're going to need to make this project, and if you buy the kit, what's in your kit. So I'll showcase what's in the kit first, and then what you need to supply. If you don't buy the kit, you'll need to supply these things right here. This is the kit. The kit comes with these little 3 pre-cut shapes. It'll come with a little pastel palette. It will have these beads that rolled all around and a chain, little black chain with a lobster clasp on it, and then a black fire line in this wonderful enameled mod. I call it mod. It's kind of 1970 feeling, enameled on both sides, brass component. Let's move these things over to the side, and there'll be more beads than you need here so that you can make choices. Now, what you need to supply will be a craft heat gun, the Shrinkets molds, the white one, and if you have a pink one, you can use the pink one too, but if all you have is the white one, that's fine. This is called the dome mold, and the pink mold, Shrinkets mold, is the bezel mold. Whoops, that's 2 tops. We need to supply a bottom and a top. And then I will be using my hand forming kit, which will, the part of it will be the blocked, because we're going to shrink something flat, and then the forming bowl that keeps the heat contained. I'm going to use a white Posca marker on this and paint marker. I'm going to need something to cut fire line with. So sharp titanium scissors, an X-Acto knife, or this is fishing line cutter, and then scissors. So that's it. Let's get started. I always forget that you're going to want a beading needle. Thanks. First thing I'm going to do is color with pastels my shrink plastic, and I'm going to be using the frosted side. And these are layered on top of each other, stacked on top of each other, like so. So I'm going to do 1 in shades of greens and 1 in shades of pinks and oranges. And if I blend a little bit of the orange with the green, I'll get kind of an olivey green. See how that made a nice olivey green over here? And then I'm going to put a little more yellow on that one. Get it really chartreuse green. A little blue in the center of that one. A little blue there, a little blue there. So I have a real variegated bead. Now I'm going to wash my hands so I get the green off of it and don't blend it in to the colors when I'm doing my other flower. So I'm going to do that in the pinks. With an orange out here at the tip. Orange out here at the tip. Some yellow. There. So I have these 2 nice colors for variegating. Now I'm going to remove this dirty piece of paper and come in here with a new clean one. And I'm going to be putting the dots on my little black bead. So I'm shaking up my Posca marker and making sure that I get the big drop out first so that I can have only fine tip. And I'm just going to do these kind of dots on this. You can do any kind of dots you want, or if you don't have a Posca marker, you can use a white colored pencil. You just need to, if you use the Posca marker, it's a paint. It's a paint marker. You need to make sure that your paint is thoroughly dry before you shrink. So I will set that aside to dry before I shrink it down. What was I saying? You can use a white colored pencil if you want to, or you just keep your bead black. Okay, so we're going to go on to shrinking. This is another one of my really simple little projects. I'm ready to shrink, and the first one I'm going to shrink is my flat bead. So I'm putting it in my container, and I've got my block out here ready, and then I'm just going to heat this around the perimeter. Two advantages of the container is I don't have to chase my bead around the table as the blower blows it, and it just stays contained. And it also keeps the heat contained in here and circulating around and heating my bead evenly so that it shrinks evenly in an even shape. I'll lift it up so you can see me doing it. I'm about an inch away from it. It's shrinking pretty fast. Doesn't matter what side it's on. It's done moving on its own accord. It's not totally flat. I try not to overheat it because I know my wooden block can flatten it totally out. And I hold that till it cools. And then I have this wonderful flat bead. Next, we're going to do the flower bead. And you have to decide, do I want to see a matte bead or do I want to see a shiny bead when I'm looking down into the cup of the bead? I want to see matte, so I'm going to place matte facing up. If I wanted to see shiny in the cup of my bead, then I'd place shiny up. And when I press this, I'm going to use this end of it on this. You can use either end on this mold. And I'm only going to press it down, not all the way into it, but just partially. If I don't go all the way down into the mold, I'll have a flower bead whose petals are more open, like it's in full bloom, versus a more closed up petal. So same way as the green flower. Done shrinking, and it's already at a nice bow. I'm only gonna go just a smidgen down. Can you see? That way. Is I want a real open bead, and I'm going to let that cool. Now, this would have been, if you had the pink mold, I wanted to use the white mold because I wanted to show you that how you can change the bloom by not pressing all the way down and having your flower more open, or you can press all the way down and, like I said, have it more closed using the white mold. Now, if you just want a very open petal bloom, you can use the bezel mold, and this also gives you a slightly flat bottom that it gives you a surface that doesn't rock when you're assembling it. So either mold would work. Now, next we're going to do this little guy, and I will be placing the dots up. And I don't need to use my little pink mold for this because I am going to tilt it up. Well, no, that's not going to work. Sorry. I like it when you shrink straight down and send the heat directly to where it's supposed to go. But for the sake of the video, I'm showing it off to the side so you can see me shrinking. There. And I'm coming down in here and just holding that down, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. And I've got this fun little bead that I will put right there. And this will stack like so. Okay, let's get started assembling. So here we are, we're ready to assemble, and I want you to take your fire line and cut it in half, okay? And then I've already done this, but you're gonna take your chain and you're going to align it up here. It's got an extender with bigger links on it. And you're gonna line it up right here. And you're gonna cut this in half with scissors. Okay? And then you're going to decide, this will add an inch to it. So you're going to check in the mirror if your chain is with the extender without it where you want it to be. And if you want to cut a ½ inch or an inch off of it, you cut it, you line it up like this. Let's say if you want to take an inch off of it, you would cut a ½ inch off of each of your sides here at your inch where you cut it. If you want to take an inch off, a ½ inch on each length. If you want to take an inch, a ½ inch on each length, and a ½ inch, a quarter on each length. Ooh, that was hard getting out. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to, you're going to need a beading needle. You can do this without a beading needle, but it's nice to have a beading needle. So I'm going to take my line and put it on my beading needle. And I haven't put glue in your kit, but if you want to use some glue for stability, I would recommend E6000 between the layers. So what I'm going to do is double my line over, and I'm putting on the yellow bead, and I'm going to fold it over with it doubled up. This way I'm hoping to avoid having to go through my sequence several times. So I'm going to next put on I'm working the back side out. So next, it looks like it rolled away. Yikes. I'm going to get myself a couple more. These are the beads I'm looking for. Those. Okay, so I'm next going to put on the pink one. And I'm taking my two tails, bypassing the yellow bead and running my two tails through here. Oops, I got hooked up on something. There. So I have my two tails through here. Oops, I thought I had my two tails through there. I don't. My doggy coughing. You're always hearing my doggies in my videos. They're very old. Okay, so I'm giving myself enough tail here to work with. This will be for tying off a knot. And I'm going to then run these two tiny tails through these two tails that are not on the needle through the back of this Heishi bead. This is a polymer clay Heishi bead. And I've put extras in your kit so that you can make design decisions. They don't have to be exactly like I'm doing. I ran the tail through it, so now everything's going through the back of my Heishi bead. And now I'm going to put the chain on. Okay, added the chain on, taking those tails, running. Now I'm just with one. I'm leaving these two tails right here. And I'm running these through. I want to make sure I've got this on the side I want it. I want this sequence to be on this side over here, on the left side. So I'm coming up through the back of the left side. We're working on the back of our bead first. So there we've got our two tails that we left behind, and we're coming up here. And we're coming in here. I'm going shiny, and I'm coming up here, and then I'm going to add this and a white Heishi bead. And I'm going to show you another option here that might be cute. You can do that, or you can do this. We've got our Heishi bead and our chain on. Now we could put our flower bead on and come up through here. This is a fun option too. Then add this guy on there, and it puts it on the back. That's fun. I like that. And then I'm putting my white bead on, and I'm going to put a black bead on, and I'm going to add a yellow bead. You can pick anything you want here. I'm going to bypass the yellow bead, and I'm coming on down and meeting this right here. Okay, then I'm going to tie a knot, and this should cinch it all up. There, it cinches it all up, and we have a double line through this, and this is 6 pounds, so it's 12 pounds altogether, and that's really strong. And then we're going to do another knot. And we're going to do a surgeon's knot. So these are my 2 lines and my loop, and I'm wrapping it around and around, coming in here tight, and then flipping it over so my knot is on this side. Adding another surgeon's knot. Getting it all under that Heishi bead. And that takes care of my bundle. Then I'm going to cut these lines. And this is where you could have put glue between these layers if you wanted. A6000, it kind of acts like caulking. So that's our one side. And that's really cute. And now we're going to do our other side. So I'm ready to do the other side, and I've strung up my needle, and I'm lining my 2 tails together and putting this in the saddle. And we're doing it the same way that we did the previous sequence. So I'm running those tails through a pink bead, and you can choose any bead you want because you have choices in your kit. And put that on. Then I'm bypassing this yellow bead and coming down through here, making sure I have enough needle, and that's been doubled up. Now, let's see, how did I do? Okay, yeah. I put the Heishi bead on and ran both tails through it. And that's when I added the other side of the chain. So it doesn't matter which ones you run through. It's probably easier for me to run the one with the needle through it. There, and we have these tails left here. I'm going to cinch and give myself a little more beading material. I'm coming up through this side, and then I'm adding this little black bead on, and I have to decide the sequence I want here. So I'm going to look and see. You've got choices. I think that pink one's fun, and I'm going to mimic the same look with a little yellow bead. Bypass that little yellow bead, come out the back side, and here I am where these two meet, and by tying the knot, it will cinch the collection. There we go. Get our chain out of the way when we tie our knots. Hard to tell. Backside's really cute too, so you can wear this both ways if you want. Okay, we got that tied on. Now we're going to do a surgeon's knot. Loop and loop again. Tie that on. Surgeon's knot on the other side. When I say the other side, I tied the knot on this side. I'm tying it on this side. I can loop around twice with my needle and tie one more knot. Just a regular one. And then I can cut my lines. And what we'll have here is this really cute little retro necklace. And I've been doing several of these lately because my creativity when in anything I've done, and probably because of my background being an illustrator for many, many years, the importance of staying relevant was really instilled in me. And so I like to pay attention to trends and yet keeping them in something that I'm comfortable with. And so these kind of 1970s and 60s and now 80s looks are just fun to play with the components that have come out, it kind of mimicking those styles, and I'm enjoying using them in the shrinkage. So that's why I'm introducing a lot of them. And these components can be purchased, these unique components can be purchased on my Etsy site, which you can link through from my website. So thanks for joining me.